such an important issue, and I thank you for being here. I think they've made the case very much for why we need some change. So I want to do two things. Talk about why we're doing what we're doing and some of the bills that we're looking at, and then get your input so that we can move together. I first arrived in Annapolis in 1995. In 1995, as a member of the House of Delegates, Prince George's County was listed as number 23 in terms of performance of schools throughout the state. I am sad to stand here today and to say that we are still 23 or 24. Now, why is that? And let me tell you, in my opinion, why that is, because I was around when HB 1107 was, when they dreamed it up. And I know the persons who were around the county executive who was pushing him to do that, and maybe not even saying everything to him, but I've been around for quite a while. I knew that this was about power and control, and who will control a $2 billion contract, a $2 billion budget, and who will get the contracts. When you trace the money and you trace things back, now people may not like the fact that I say that, but I say it with great justification. Because all of the things that we promised that we were going to do, when we made this change for our children, all of the priorities and the goals that were spelled out that would be accomplished if the legislature voted to take the power away from the school board. Not only have none of those things been done, but they have not even been a priority in the budget to be done. So if you don't put your money behind your goals, then obviously you don't intend to achieve those goals. When I look at the budget, I look at the goals, I can tell you this: the only thing that bill did was to destroy accountability, transparency, and to lock everything up with a few persons who had a reason for doing it that had nothing to do with our children. Now, having said that, what can be done? They were hoping that no one would put in the bill that it would just be forgotten and it would die. In order to meet a deadline before tonight's meeting, I had to put in two bills. I'll tell you what those bills are, and then you all can make the changes. But I'm not going to sit by, particularly in terms of his thought. Let me tell you this again. When I talk about accountability, I'm a sitting senator. They closed schools in my district. I had to go and talk to the parents, and you know what? The CEO would not even return my call. That's arrogance. I have a special needs program that is working in my county, and you tell me you're going to close it because you need the $2 million, and I'm telling you instead, close your television station because nobody watches it anyway. And you put $1 million in that, and then you're going to tell me you lost $6 million, and then you're going to replace it with a program that you got to put probably an additional $3 million, but you had to close my schools. Two of the incidents occurred in the district where I serve as senator. I could not get a return call or a response from anyone. And yet I have to go out here and explain to people what happened and what we're going to do. So if I can't hear from you, it's nothing personal, then I'm going to try and tear down that structure that enables you to feel as though you can insulate yourself and that you're not accountable to parents, you're not accountable to these school board members. I said this when we were in a meeting and someone was getting ready to yell at school board member Burroughs, and I said, wait a minute, you can't yell at him. First of all, they took all the power away from him. So you elect them, and they take the power away, and then he can't get a phone call returned. He can't get a conversation with the CEO, and then you want to hold him responsible. You can't. So Delegate Brayboy has been working with me, and the bill that I put in one is to return it back to the way it was. Put in the accountability, for example, the accountability back into the hands of an elected school board, and if you don't like them, just get out and get rid of them. But don't say the process doesn't work. It works anyway. I was on a television show yesterday and talking to a reporter who said to me, well, Senator, you know, people vote for the senator, they vote, and fewer people vote for the for school board. I said that's no reason to throw out the process. There may be a number of reasons. Maybe there are those who feel I don't have children in the schools, so I don't really have to do it, and it doesn't really matter. Year before last, election before last, Baltimore City only had 13% of its people turn out to vote, period. So what do? Do you just throw out the whole process and say, gee, it is not working? That's ridiculous, and that's no reason to throw out the process. It would put the power back into the hands of the school board to both have accountability and to hire the CEO. They can vote among themselves for a chair or a vice chair that they can hold accountable. They can set the agenda. They can make their priorities in terms of their districts, because of many of the appointed who say they represent the entire county. I don't know them, and they certainly haven't been, except for one. Dr. Anderson, they haven't been down, you know, maybe another I'm forgetting about, you'll tell me. But they don't know what's happening in my district, because you can't from one position with no staff be responsible for the entire county and the schools, unless there's somebody that's going to tell you how to vote and tell you what to do. And you know what? That doesn't help my community. If I'm going to have a fight, I want to know who I'm fighting with. We're going to get along. I want to know what it is that we're going to agree on. So this would put those powers back into the hands of the school board. Now, for those who may want to argue, you know, you always have to look ahead when you're in Annapolis, right? You have to say, what's going to come up and what reasons would someone give for trying to kill the bill? I have a backup bill. The backup bill puts it, again, back to the way it originally was. And it also says that the county executive who can appoint two members, and the county council, one, and if I have to amend it, but and that the county council will appoint one, but the power stays within the school board structure, even with that compromise. I will also be calling for, in additional bills, an external audit. We've not had an external audit. We're spending a lot of money, right? We're spending, and every time we have a problem, people say, oh, more money, more money. Throwing more money after bad programs does not mean it's going to work. I want them to be able to report back to us and to say to us a year from now, why are we still 23? And what do we have to do specifically to improve to become number 21 and 20 and 15? You follow what I'm saying? Because if you don't know what the problem is, we've not had an audit of the programs. We've not had a comprehensive audit of the programs, so we don't know which courses are working, what's not working, but we keep paying for it. So if you're paying for something over 20 years and it has not worked, it seems to me that, you know, whenever I call for an audit, you know, I get a run around that sort of thing. So a bill that will call for the audit, an annual audit, and that can take that audit and compare the way we're spending money to the programs that we're spending the money on, and then to determine if there's a success rate in those areas. When it comes to our special needs students, it is horrible in terms of the process that our parents have to go through. And we know it's horrible. Year after year, at 4 years before they can finally get something done. In the meantime, your child has gone from grade 4, 5, 6, and 7. We don't have that luxury of that time. These are our kids' lives. I'm going to also make sure that we understand what are we saying success is. When I hear the superintendent saying how successful we are, it is amazing to me how by those standards that we judge, that they have the power to judge by, everything is up. By objective standards that they have nothing to do with the evaluation of, everything is down. So I said, don't come and tell me that we're graduating more students and I'm supposed to be happy when the SAT scores are down. That simply suggests to me that you have lowered the standards and you're pushing these kids through, and at the end of the day, we're responsible for that. So I don't want to know that, and I don't want to hear that. I'm not going to let them say that. Those are the things I'm going to do. Let me stop now, hear from you. If there are any of the bills that you've heard that you disagree with, that you have some problems with, that you want me to look at, changing some things about it. And this is not, by the way, this is nothing personal at all. It's about our children.
Yes.
By any means necessary. I'll stop with that. Yes, sir, yes, and then yes, and yes.
3 parts, if you will. 1, how long has this bill been in place? 2, what is in such a format that prevents the citizens of PG County from doing something by putting a petition on the ballot and saying, you know, put it out there to the voters and saying, kill the bill? And 3, Ms. Jacobs had said something, help me paraphrase here a moment, but you said something about legislation. If nothing's done, then this becomes permanent with regard to everything. You know, what has to be done to keep that from being permanent?
A bill like mine, and you all have to call the senators who are, and a lot of times they hope you don't know, and so, you know, there's a tendency for us sometimes to duck and dodge and hope that you don't find out. I want to make this public, what we're doing, and that's why I'm going around having these meetings. I want pressure put on senators to say that you have to represent the citizens and not the party system.
Can't we get some petition signed so you get a certain
If
number
you can do that,
of
that would be
signatures? And,
Yes.
you know,
That's good.
what do people need to do?
So the senator will have a petition up by the end of the week.
And that will give us enough time. It will give us at least 3 months if we collect the signatures, and I'm able to walk in there with the signatures. The other thing that you can do, I put it in early so that we can have a public hearing by law. So that by law, there will be a public hearing, and we've got to get the word out to everybody to pack that public hearing room, one after another, be in support of this legislation. Delegate, you want to say?
No, I was just going to
Yeah, would you help with that?
facilitate
Yes.
here and there.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and so please get with us so we are able to get right to you and say, here it is, let's move it.
I'm here until you go home.
So,
Okay, a couple questions, and also just want to add on to maybe help fire up the base, but understand, not only are graduation rates down, but the number of people earning diplomas. So even though we have like a 1% increase in graduation rates, we have, you know, more like it's double digits of the number of people that are actually earning diplomas, which means, again, they're being pushed out in
That's right.
some way, and we don't know how.
Right.
So,
that's right.
and one other thing, just remember, we are last. We don't rank anymore. We don't rank schools anymore. We are last when you look at our increase of scores. So that's how you have to look. How our scores increased over the last few years. We are definitely at the bottom in this county. And so the question I have about getting this bill repealed, because, and I'm sure you probably have seen my emails for the last 3 years since this bill was passed about repealing it. I was told that since it's a statewide bill, that we have to get, was it Sheila Hickson, to bring it to the floor? So do we need to start bombarding her office
And
to
who
get
is
her
she?
moving?
Here's how it works. We need to first get to the chairman of the delegation. Normally, we have courtesy down there that says if the delegation votes for it, then the whole legislature will vote for it. Because if they ever turn that, don't live up to that, then we will be writing 1,000 bills, for Calvert County. Right now, I don't represent Calvert County. If you come to my county, I'm coming to your county. So we usually try to stick with that. It would be to get the delegate Jay Walker to make sure that he can get it on for a delegation vote. It is to get to them to get to our delegates, because if it comes out of that delegation, then it will go directly to the standing committee, which is Ways and Means. Delegate Hickson is the chairman of Ways and Means, and that's a committee that must vote, and generally they will vote based on what the local delegation has said. I need Senator Rosa Pep, who is the Senate what do you call it, the Senate, yeah, Senate chair of the Senate delegation, for them to not hold it up, to call for a vote, even if that means, you know, well, I won't say what it means, I'll say that later. But for us to be able to go down.